losing my mother.
Mm.
That was beyond I could even. My mother was my best friend,
She was.
and my
You're
mother.
the
I'm
youngest.
the youngest, and my sister is the oldest, and I have a brother who's the middle. But my mother was my best friend. I could tell my mother anything and everything, talk to her about anything and everything under the sun, from sex to drugs to rock and roll. And my mother was as cool as anything, even
She
when she was
was.
90.
Evelyn.
Yeah, she drove a sports car. She played cards with five guys would
She
come over her
did.
house. She had a card game table in her other room, and so losing her was to me losing a part of my life and my heart. And so that was the most devastating because there was a part of me that when I did lose her, and I still can't even say the word DIED, um, that for a while, because we were together, but it wasn't that long, I think, maybe 4 years, 5 years, whatever it was. But you knew you were close with my mother. Not that I started to resent you, but a friend of mine told me because I hated the world. I
You
just
did.
hated the world and I hated anybody that I
Yeah.
would see who was older and they were walking on the street. And I felt like, why is that person here and my mother is not here? And I could not be happy and I could not laugh or listen to music or anything. And a friend of mine told me, you can't take it out on Skip because your mother's not here anymore. And you can't
Yeah.
take it out on the world that your mother's not here. But it's just something, some people don't have good relationships with their parents. I wasn't that close with my father, but my mother to me was the world. And I miss her every single minute of the day to this very moment.
You do. I tried to tell you and make you believe that she lived a great life until she was 90,
Yeah,
right? And
that doesn't cut
that
ice
that
with me.
that
It's
that
not, it doesn't
she
mean
but
that,
she raised you to pull yourself up by your
yeah,
bootstraps, as she would
that was my
always say,
mother's saying. Yeah.
right? And this was the ultimate, you're ready to become your own woman and to
Yeah.
become her.
Yeah, but it doesn't, all that, when people say, the worst thing I think somebody can say when they lose someone dear into their life, parent, sister, partner, whatever it is, oh, how old were they? The minute they say, how old were they? Then they're setting you up for,
Yeah.
they lived
Oh,
a good life.
that's true.
Okay, who are you to say when
Fair
somebody
enough.
should live or
Yeah.
die? And also they say, oh, I'm sure they had a good life. Well, they had more to live. My mother did not want to die. My mother loved life. Your mother was not happy with life. Your mother
No.
was more into, she didn't want to live anymore. My mother wanted to live. And so,
So it was hard on me to be as compassionate to you as I needed to be because I wasn't close to my mother or
right,
father.
and you could not
And so
understand that.
when they passed, although at that point my mother was still with
Yeah, your
us,
mother was still around.
but I was, I mean, I did, when I first heard my mother was gone, I cried for about 5 minutes just because she was my mother.
Right,
And I did go to her service
right.
and I was fine because there was no closeness, no heart tugs,
Yeah.
because there was nothing to reach down for because there never was much there to begin with. But this was the
Well, to
hardest
me,
time.
I still can't even look at my mother's picture.
You can't.
No, my sister can, my sister loves thinking about my mother and talking to me about good times and remember when we did this. And to me, it's like, well, I don't want to think of that because to me, I know I can't do it again. It's over and I can't do it. So it makes me really sad. But she has my mother's pictures all over the place and I can't. And somebody, a friend of mine a long time ago when he lost his father, he said, when people come up to me and he was close with his father and they say, oh, I feel so sorry. Where's your father? And they don't know. And he says, my father's on vacation. So that became my thing. And with my best friend Francesca, when she lost her mother, she adopted that. And when people say to her, where's your mother? She's on vacation. Or she'll say to me, we talk in code. We talk and we say, remember when your mother went on vacation? Yeah, and my mother went on vacation. We don't want to say those words because there's just,
Yeah.
some people just can't deal with it. Everybody deals with grief and losing someone differently.
So it was hard on me because I wasn't I don't think I was strong for you or supportive
Well, you just
enough.
didn't understand
Yeah,
because you didn't know, you don't understand. Even to this day, the connection I had with my mother was
because
different.
you said you literally held on to her apron strings
Yeah, I was with my mother 24
like
7 when I was
the
little.
apron strings didn't get cut until she passed,
Yeah,
right?
I called my mother 14 times a
You
day.
did.
Ma, what do you think of this? Ma, what do you think of that? I could have a fight with my mother and then call her the next minute and say, hey, I just saw something on QVC. Do you want me to buy it for you? And that was my mother. My mother could understand anything I could say to her. Ma, sex wise, oh God, do I have to hear this? Just shut up. Just listen to this. And she'd go, okay, what's the problem? And my mother had the answer for
She
everything.
did.
Even though my mother didn't go to college and my mother quit school at 8th grade because she had to help work when they were, down on the Lower East Side, and she worked all her life. And my mother was the smartest person I knew, and it wasn't from education, it was from life. And that's what I miss, being able to go to my mother, talking to my mother about anything and everything.
And she became my mother.
Yeah, she loved you.
She did. And I am now convinced, and I told you from the start, speaking of spirits,
That Hazel's my mother.
reincarnation, this is Evelyn.
Oh, God.
And I wanted to name Hazel Evie or Evelyn, right?
Yeah, couldn't do
and
it.
she couldn't sort of live with
Yeah.
that, so to speak.
I named my car Evelyn.
But I'm convinced that she operates as your Evelyn
Yeah.
in canine form.
But she
Right?
watches over me.
She watches over
Yeah.
you. She would die for you. She would attack for you. She
Yeah.
would, she watches over you. She sleeps sort of on top of
Right,
you
right,
with
on the
paws,
side, yeah.
just to make sure that
Yeah.
she can go to sleep with you under her control,
Yeah.
right? That's Evelyn.